1, 2, 3, 4. Speed it up.
The Diminutive spider climbed up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain.
Hi, I'm Professor Carl, and today I will explain why gobbledygook is not the way to write. As we see here, writing is communicating, and when we communicate, we want to do it clearly. Watch what happens when gobbledygook enters everyday conversation.
Hey Zach, what's up? The current status of my emotional situation is that of copacetic. Oh, okay. Would you like to see a movie tonight? It is of this person's opinion that viewing a motion picture accompanied by you is a most welcome proposition. What did you say? My prior utterances elucidated upon the fact that the act of viewing a motion picture with you is readily acceptable. Why are you talking like that? I can't understand a word you're saying. I am currently in the act of experiencing confusion, as it is only my desired intent to express my willingness to attend a motion picture with you this evening. Fine. If you're going to be a dork, I will find someone else to see a movie with. You are cray-cray. Please offer your allowance for me to offer my most sincere of apologies. I will henceforward articulate my utterances in a manner more suited to your personage. In what capacity was I mistaken? At this current rate of success with members of the opposite gender, it appears I may remain a chaste individual until I am of more senior age.
So as we can see, gobbledygook or wordiness, often confused for academic language, is not appropriate for everyday conversation. Why then is it appropriate for writing?
It's not.
Remember, then, these simple rules. Writing is communicating. Successful communication is clear communication. Clutter is not clarity. And finally, simple is often better. Now, let's dance.
The itsy bitsy spider out up the water spout. Down came the rain and watched the spider out.
Welcome to the Diminutive Arachnid, a lesson in reducing wordiness. You've all been there. You get an assignment, you have to write a 10-page essay. You're thinking, oh my God, how am I ever going to fill up 10 pages on this topic? Instead of doing what you should do, which is really delve into the topic and provide all the necessary detail and examples and evaluations of said topic, you decide to do the other thing and just put more words on the page. Or perhaps go to the thesaurus, which you've also been taught to do, and use bigger words that you think sound better because your teacher said bigger words sound better. Well, is it always the case that more is better? The diminutive arachnid ascended up the accumulated precipitation evacuation conduit prior to the arrival of said precipitation, whereupon the arachnid encountered a sudden and unexpected influx of accumulated moisture, which effectively expunged the arachnid from the drainage conduit. However, our intrepid harvestman would not be deterred from its original quest, and upon arrival of the sun, therefore went ahead and reassumed his previous task of vertically ascending up the water drainage device that had been erected. No. What is above all needed is to let the meaning choose the word and not the other way around. In prose, the worst thing one can do with words is surrender to them. So said George Orwell, the evermore pertinent George Orwell, in his wonderful essay, Politics and the English Language. More words is not better. Bigger words are not better. The words you need to say what you need to say, and the words you know already are the words you want to use to say that. Too often, though, students fall into what they feel is formal language or academic language, which ends up just being wordy language. Formal language is something like this. Thank you for your submission. Unfortunately, our editors have decided against publishing your work as it does not meet our current needs. Informal language would be, dude, what the hell were you thinking? You expect us to publish that crap? Yeah, right, ain't gonna happen. I think we can see the difference there. The formal is not wordy, there's no big fancy words in there. It's just not quite as casual as it might be when we're speaking on the street. But the language is the same. Those words in the formal language you already have in your brain. You don't need a thesaurus, you don't need a dictionary to look them up, and it says what you want to say. Academic language is not wordy language. What academic language is, in contrast to personal writing context, academic writing is different because it deals with the underlying theories and causes governing processes and practices in everyday life, as well as exploring the alternate explanations for these events. So it's the topic, the issue, that makes writing academic. It's not the style of writing itself. Academic writing still adheres to the same traditional conventions of punctuation, grammar, and spelling that all writing should. Now, here are some common pitfalls that lead to wordiness or gobbledygook or just overwriting. First, we have the overuse of expletives at the beginning of a sentence. Now, expletives does not mean or fiddlesticks, but rather it's the use of the form it plus a be verb or there plus a be verb. It is, it was, it has been said that. For instance, it is fun to learn how to write well. It is the expletive. It just doesn't mean anything. What is it in that sentence? How can we rewrite that? Learning to write well is fun. Much better. Much more direct. Nicer rhythm as well. There was a bad clam that made me sick. Again, expletive, there was. Let's get rid of that. Very simple this time. A bad clam made me sick. So we got rid of the expletive. We also got rid of that word that in here, which again is a much overused word. It is the concerned writer who pays attention to directions. Once again, it is our expletive. Let's get rid of it. Concerned writers pay attention to directions. Another common pitfall is the overuse of the noun phrase form of a verb, turning a verb into a noun rather than letting it be the action it was born to be. Use verbs when possible rather than noun forms known as nominalizations. Sentences with many nominalizations usually have forms of the verb to be, is, was, were, as the main verb. For instance, the focus of this PowerPoint is the elimination of wordiness. We can rewrite that too. This PowerPoint focuses on eliminating wordiness. Here the word focus was used as a noun rather than as the strong verb it really wanted to be in the second form. The PowerPoint focuses. So we get rid of the prepositional phrase here too, right? Rather than the subject, this PowerPoint being the subject of the sentence, up here it's the object of the preposition as we nominalized focus. Students should give consideration to the improvement of their writing. Students should consider improving their writing. Again, we have improvement here and we have consideration, both as noun forms. Consideration is a noun. We turned it into the verb here. Improving remains a noun form, but with using the ing form of the verb, we got rid of another prepositional phrase. Redundancy is a common pitfall, and redundancy can occur in either diction or idea, or, of course, both. There are many common errors in student writing. These errors include wordiness, poor punctuation, and bad grammar. Of course, this starts with an expletive, so we want to get rid of that. And then we see the repetition in common errors repeated again in the next sentence, these errors. This is an obvious attempt just to get more words on the page. The first sentence is just not needed. Why do we need this introduction to the main idea that we want to say? Let's rewrite this. Common errors in student writing include wordiness, poor punctuation, and bad grammar. In our current society today, the ATM machine has become an absolute necessity. Here's a redundancy in idea and language, because current society today is simply redundant. If it is today, it is current, and it is our society. So all we need there is today. The ATM machine, ATM stands for automatic teller machine, so we've said here the ATM machine. And as for absolute necessity, if something is a necessity, like air to survive, it is absolute. It can't be done without. So the rewrite, the ATM is a necessity today. Using circumlocutions in favor of direct expressions. Circumlocutions are commonly used roundabout expressions that take several words to say what could be said more succinctly. Again, a great way to get more words on the page, but not a great way to add any more meaning to those words. The writer goes on to say that wordiness is easily corrected. Does the writer need to go on to say that, or does the writer simply then say wordiness is easily corrected? When it comes to good writing, clarity and precision are key. When it comes to is neither clear nor precise, because what is the it in this sentence? It has no antecedent. It is unclear.
The antecedent is the noun, which the pronoun replaces or refers to. The pronoun and antecedent must match or agree.
So when it comes to is an expression we want to avoid. And look at the result there. When writing, clarity and precision are key. Perfectly fine. Or we could write clarity and precision are key to good writing. Students often resort to wordiness due to the fact that they've been taught to favor quantity over quality. One of my least favorite expressions of all time, due to the fact that. 5 words. Why? When one simple word like because does the job, or as, or since. All of those work better than those 5 unnecessary words due to the fact that. Employers wish job applicants had the ability to. Again, we have a nominalization here, had the ability rather than were able to write well. Or we could say something like employers wish job applicants could write well. Simple verb there rather than had the ability to, because having the ability to does mean you can, and we see that in the word could there, the past tense of it. Common pitfall, preposition overlord. Common pitfalls, preposition overload. Prepositions are those words that relate to a mountain or a box. Over the mountain, through the mountain, in the mountain, under the box, around the box, by the box.
Preposition, you're on a mission to tell me exactly my position. I could be on the couch outside my house. Am I across the street or within your reach? I could go up the stairs. Did I fall off my chair? Am I in front of you? Are you behind me too? Now I'm about to say, without further delay, when you're next to me, that's where I wanna be. Now we're near the end, but we're among good friends. So that after this, I will do it one more time. Preposition, it's your ambition to tell me exactly my position.
Generally, they tell us a direction of a verb. Not always. Abraham Lincoln's purpose is to give honor to the soldiers in order to move the people in a particular way that would make them appreciate what these soldiers have done for our country. This is an example from an actual student essay. Where are the prepositions? To the soldiers, in order, in a particular way, for our country. And then added to that, we have the infinitive, which is the word to, followed by the simple form of the verb to give and to move. 33 words. Let's see what we can do. There those 33 words are, and here we've changed them to 22. Abraham Lincoln's purpose is to honor the soldiers and move the audience to appreciate what these soldiers have done for our country. What did we have up here? His purpose is to give honor to the soldiers in order to move the people in a particular way. What does that mean, to move people in a particular way? That is to move the audience to appreciate. Get right to it. Don't talk in vagueness. Use the actual words that you mean and use them as fast and soon as you can. We could even get rid of the nominalization of to honor here, right, and use that as a verb. Abraham Lincoln honors the soldiers and moves the audience to appreciate what these soldiers have done for our country. Getting rid of all those two except for one there, and 19 words from 33. He incorporates the use of rhetorical strategies in a way to present his claim to the readers. I'm talking about Mr. Lincoln here again. What does this even say? He incorporates the use of rhetorical strategies. Do we know what rhetorical strategy? In a way. Do we know what way? To present his claim. Do we know what claim? No. So it's empty writing. A lot of words to say basically nothing. We have of, we have in, we have to, and again we do have another infinitive there, to present. Can we rewrite? And maybe we can do this with a lot more clarity too. He incorporates the use of rhetorical strategies. What does that mean? Lincoln stirs patriotism. There it is. Rather than incorporating the use of rhetorical strategy, we get right to the point. Lincoln stirs patriotism in his listeners. How does he do that? In a way, by reminding them the country's forefathers believed all men are created equal, and here's a claim he is making. We added a word, right? But look at the detail that we've included here with good strong verbs like stirs and good strong nouns like patriotism. From another student's paper, Lincoln's speech is revered as one of the best speeches in the history of the United States for many reasons. One of these reasons is his methods in delivering his speech to captivate his audience. When delivering his speech, Lincoln appealed to the logic of his audience by reminding them that their country was founded on the belief that all men are created equal. Once again, a whole bunch of nothing before we get to something we want to read. It is not until down here where we get logic, a specific detail. Right? Lincoln's speech is revered by whom? For many reasons. What reasons? One of these reasons is his methods of delivering his speech. Well, what is the reason? What is the method? Why didn't we go right to a specific method? Finally, in the third sentence, when delivering his speech, Lincoln appealed to the logic. 3 sentences before we got to what this paragraph wanted to be about. And of course, if we start looking for the overuse of prepositions, we have as, we have of, we have in, we have of, we have for, we have of, we have in, we have to, we have of, we have by, and we have on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 prepositions in 64 words. That's too many. We also add to that the to captivate, the infinitive form, adding another to the sentence. What can we do? I'll give you a couple minutes here to think about this one. We have a passive construction here. Lincoln's speech is revered. We don't know by whom, so let's get rid of that. Rhetoricians revere Lincoln's speech. Okay, as among the best in United States history. Why? His ability to captivate his audience logically, as when he reminds them their country was founded on the belief that all men are created equal, is key to its strength. So we said here in 41 words what this other writer took 64 words to be. We're much more direct. It's not roundabout, not circumlocucious, and not filled with unnecessary prepositional phrases. This is what we want to strive for, right? Get to the point quickly. You don't need all these extra words. Yes, they're going to fill up your page, but they don't say anything. And nobody wants to read that. Nobody wants to read 64 words to get to what only 41 words can say. And this is much more detailed, right? Rhetoricians instead of not knowing anybody. The second is a type of writing readers want. Yes, it's easier to get to 10 pages or 500 words or whatever your artificial limit was assigned to you of number of words and pages. But who wants to read all those unnecessary words when you want to get to the point as quickly as possible? Among and in and on, we went from 11, if you remember, prepositions to 3 here. We still remained to captivate. Again, 64 words. Take the axe a little farther. Lincoln stirs patriotism in his listeners by reminding them the country's forefathers believed all men are created equal. Took it down to 18. Got rid of the idea of it being revered by rhetoricians. Maybe we want to keep that, but we can see how buried within all those words is a real nugget of meaning that wants to come out, but can't. Overusing that. That is a word that beginning writers love to use. Again, it fills up the page with extra words, gets us to 500, but what is it doing there, and what effect is it really having on our sentence? I believe that the PowerPoint that we just watched and that was made by the professor that teaches this class is among the worst presentations that I have ever seen. That said, I must confess that I learned a lot. Ay, ay, ay. We have that, 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 and we have that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 that's. Do we need them? The easiest way to figure it out is to read the sentence without it. If you don't need it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. I believe the PowerPoint that we just watched. That sounds perfectly fine. Without that. Let's get rid of it. I believe the PowerPoint we just watched. That sounds perfectly fine without that too. Bye-bye. I believe the PowerPoint we just watched and that was made by the professor and that we just watched and was made by the professor. Sounded fine to me. Get rid of it. This one that refers to the professor using that, we want to use who when referring to people and reserve that for things and animals you don't know the gender of. Professors tend to be human, so let's change that to the proper word here, who. The professor who teaches this class is among the worst presentations that I've ever seen, is among the worst presentations I have ever seen. Perfectly fine without it. That said, we could keep that, but those 2 words could easily be replaced by another one, something like yet, or maybe so. Yet I must confess I learned a lot. Don't need that either. Now listen to that sentence. I believe the PowerPoint we just watched and was made by the professor who teaches his class is among the worst presentations I've ever seen. Yet I must confess I learned a lot. Strong, to the point, nicer rhythm. It's just easier and better to read without all those that's cluttering it up. So don't worry about this as you are writing, but do go back when you're finished. Everything, you got all the detail down, you got your structure working, and then go look for your that's, and then get rid of them. If you approach writing with all these rules in your mind, you're just going to get blocked and nothing will come to the page. So write, get everything working, get it organized, make sure you have all your detail, and then you can go back and start editing, looking for those unnecessary words or looking for those vague words and replacing them with stronger ones. So what do we learn? Conciseness. Vigorous writing is concise. A sentence should contain no unnecessary words, a paragraph no unnecessary sentences, for the same reason that a drawing should not have unnecessary lines. Imagine an arrow through the head on the Mona Lisa. And a machine, no unnecessary parts. A windmill on the top of your Mercedes. This requires not that the writer make all his sentences short or that he avoid all detail and treat his subjects only in outline, but that every word tell, says William Strunk Jr. of The Elements of Style. Every word tell. Every word should have a purpose, a meaning. Say something within the sentence, within the paragraph, within the essays that you write. Make every word count. Due to the fact that doesn't add any meaning, just clutter, just words.
The itsy bitsy spider crawled up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider, he crawled up the spout again. He climbed back up.
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 This ain't no game. This ain't no game. This ain't no game. It's a spider thing. This ain't no game. This ain't no game. This ain't no game. It's a spider thing. No grasshoppers, no cockroaches, no butterflies, no leeches.
What?
Only ones that climb up is them 8-legged creatures.
Creatures.
It's a spider thing. It's a spider thing. It's a spider thing. This ain't no game.